In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. In this episode, we'll be speaking about Mirza's rudeness, the vulgar words and insults he uses. He assaults people and other religions in their entirety. He makes a mockery of people's origins, for instance. If someone originally descends from Hindus, he will call him son of the Hindus in a derogatory manner. Even the simplest people shouldn't act like that. Indeed, if any ordinary human being acts in such a manner, they would be looked at with disrespect. No one would agree to interact with an individual with such ill manners. Is this the messenger of Allah? Could this person be the second best prophet that comes after the best of all human beings? Is this the fair and just? Could that person be the founder of the second rise of Islam? How offensive is this to Allah and His religion that anyone calls to such idea? Such extreme vulgarities appear in the Khutbah Ilhamiyya, where he says, "Unfortunately, most people don't understand these hidden jokes. They don't know how to celebrate Eid except by purchasing new clothing and wasting the whole day with absurdities on gifts, or by showing off the meat of their cows and young goats. By joviality, laughing, howling, longing to dance with harlots whom they want to kiss, embrace and fondle. Such is the way he speaks. Why would you use such expressions?" This was in Khutbah Ilhamiyya and in Lujatun Nur. He says, what is intended by the Dabatul Ard, that is the earth's beasts as mentioned in the Quran, are the evil scholars who speak to people out of their anuses instead of their mouths. What is this vulgarity? What shame! I am compelled to utter these expressions, and I extend my apology to the audience for uttering such words. If I wasn't compelled, I wouldn't have even mentioned them. In fact, this was in Hamamat al-Bushra. As for Lujatun Nur, even worse expressions are used. He continues, "They speak to people from such and such, not from their mouths." In other words, you do not find purity in their words, nor goodness, uprightness, or luminosity, as you would find in the words of the righteous. Okay, you could have sufficed by saying this, or that you do not find purity in their speech. But you definitely don't need to say that they speak to people from their such and such and not speak from their mouths. And in Lujatun Nur, the truth is that you cannot have a book between two covers like the book of our Lord, the Lord of the two worlds, namely the noble Quran. Everything else has defaults and imperfections. If you find any faults in their wording, such as khad abrak wa amlas, which means shiny and smooth cheek, then you will find another opposite, such as amf asgar wa aftas, which means small pug nose. And if you find an instance of two balanced and rhyming sentences, just like the two buttocks of a woman, you will find out that one of them is out of symmetry and balance. That is some of the most foolish and benign stuff you will ever hear in your life. He likens the symmetry of two rhyming sentences to the buttocks of a woman. Is this a manner to speak in front of people? Whoever hears these words and doesn't know their meaning, would he be able to ask someone? Such language cannot be spoken, ever. These are only some examples of the extremely foolish vulgarities that were used. Now we will turn to the insults that have filled his books. People, from the very beginning, Whenever Allah sends a prophet, he, the prophet, would be patient no matter how critical people were of him, and no matter how disbelieving they were. A prophet had to be patient and did not respond to evils with evil, or he just avoided them and greeted them with peace. Many verses command us to respond to evil actions with good, and they are well known. From the very beginning, this man has had a loose tongue, very insulting man. And he says in Tabligh, I have written many books and debates, many works such as Al-Barahin, the proofs. I also have other books that are like this one in their perfection, such as Al-Kuhul and Al-Tawdih and Al-Izala and Fath al-Islam. And another book that was written before all these, called Daf' al-Wasawis. He uses the expressions sabaka kulaha when it should be sabakaha kulaha. No one uses such an expression in Arabic. Kul in this expression is an abstract confirmation, which must refer to something that is to be confirmed. It cannot be a concealed pronoun, sabaka kulaha. We have a verb, a subject, and an object. This is a transitive verb and requires an object, and so it should be sabakaha kulaha. Another book that I wrote before this called Daf' al-Wasawis, which is very beneficial for those who wish to see the excellence of Islam. Every Muslim is fond of these books and benefits by their insights, and will accept me and believe in my assertions, except for those sons of whores whose hearts Allah has sealed, they will not accept. Man, you say these words in January 1893, when people have not yet seen the miracle of the lunar and solar eclipse, and they knew nothing about the miracle of you learning 40,000 variants of the Arabic language in one night? Nor had they seen the miracle of the plague, nor all of these miracles. So people may ask, are they all descendants of prostitutes? Are all people descendants of prostitutes except for those 200? How many people were in the group at the time? Now, we turn to a declaration at the end of 1893, which said, there are many happy and outstanding people in our group, and there are more than 200 of them. Since we know that he falsifies information, then there were probably around 100, but we will accept the 200. So are all people of the world descendants of prostitutes except for these 200? What kind of a claim is this? At this time, you are not a prophet yet, based on the assumption that you became a prophet later on. People read these books, but what are these books he mentioned? Let's talk about them one by one. Al-Barahin. What do you want people to understand from Al-Barahin? It is all a show and full of advertisements. You can read it yourself and check what's in it. In the first advertisement, the book cost 50 or 20 rupees or so. And in the second advertisement, he listed the name of the donors, including the amounts they donated, their addresses, their vocations, and then some fancy words. The first chapter ends without any point or anything. What do you want from the people? Then come the second and third chapters, where he mentions the revelation, I love you. What do you expect of the people when they hear, I love you? And when do you tell them that you will write tens of volumes, but you end up writing 4 chapters only? Then you claimed that you produced 300 proofs of the truth of Islam, but we can't find anything except one proof, assuming you correctly addressed that. This book proved that you broke your promise, and what do you expect of the people? The book Kuhel Uyun al-Ariya, in which you mention that there are animals and plants on the surface of the sun and the moon. Do you expect people to believe you by reading this book? How about Fath al-Islam, in which you focus on a financial project, or Tawbih al-Maram, where you allude to your prophethood? Izalat al-Awham. What was it? Something about the Messiah's death and the signs of the hour? Is it all about interpretive judgments? Do you expect people to believe in you based on these interpretive judgments, despite that they've seen the falsification from the very first day? The story of the Ahmadiyya proofs is all falsification. What do you expect of people? They are all children of prostitutes? He called names and insulted people right from the first day. He has zero patience and won't tolerate any criticism, such is his character. Now let's turn to his attacks on people of other religions. Some would say it is good that he attacks other religions, but we say to him, how come the Caliph does not do as the founder did, but rather does the opposite? He welcomes these people, greets them, and does not discuss matters of religion with them whatsoever. The founder says that Christianity occupies the first place in the world in falsification, so those who did not even fear to betray the divine scriptures fabricated hundreds of other false books. Would any decent or noble man accept their word or claim? This is an announcement from the end of 1898. When a man attacks an entire religion indiscriminately, whatever his disagreements with it may be, even if it claims to call to divine oneness, Tawheed, while it calls to the Trinity, he says, they are the first among the liars. These are people, some of whom are truthful and some are liars, but there is no need to attack other religions. If we attack each and every individual, or describe them in such ways, then that is ill-mannered in the eyes of all civilized people. Supposing it is a good thing, then the Caliph would have done it. He says while addressing the Sikh, you are not cowards like the Hindus, you are brave people. How can you insult a whole nation with over 500 million people by describing them all as cowards? Shame! And that should not be said. While we see them invited to Qadian's gatherings, and none of them is described as a coward, and it is never said that the Hindus are cowards. Well, let the current Caliph deliver a speech saying that the Hindus are coward people. Such things would be said amongst ill-mannered friends while joking, people from the streets. I don't suggest that any respectable group would say such things. The founder says in his book, Akibat Athem, that he received revelation from Allah saying, Idna shani uka huwa labtar, which means, indeed, your enemy is the one cut off. When I received a letter from someone saying he was a new convert to Islam, whose name was Sadullah, and this letter was a poem filled with vulgarities and insults. In it, he used the term, son of the Hindus, and in my view, these are vulgar words, which shall not be used except by vile men with corrupt hearts. Son of the Hindus. This man converted to Islam from Hinduism, and you shame him just because he was originally a Hindu? Shame. Upon reading his declaration and letter, I received the revelation of, indeed, your enemy is the one who is cut off. And if this didn't become true of this son of the Hindus, who is vile in character, and that if he did not die as a disappointed loser, humiliated and disgraced, then know that I am not from Allah. Okay, so I demand from the current Caliph to address any Muslim who is of Hindu origins who criticizes him as son of the Hindus, or if he is of Christian origin, to call him son of the Christians. Now, we turn to some of the terms that appear in his revelation, which are all insults and vulgarities, and which bring only problems. Even his revelations are revelations of problems. For instance, one revelation says, to shame an opponent and humiliate him and blame the people. Let him act on this. How will he implement it against his opponents who rival him? He must slander them and say, they did this and that, and humiliate them. All of the Ahmadiyya biographies are like this. I will humiliate the one who wants to humiliate you. All of this is harsh language that only comes from a place of hatred towards other people. Such people fill the world and enmity. This group is the group of hatred for the. This is apparent from the text of their revelation, which the founder talks about. A normal person goes among people with a kind heart, and if he comes across such terms and remains silent, then his heart will seriously blacken. To humiliate a rival and blame people is like a dog dying upon a dog. Can you believe this is a revelation? A dog dying upon a dog?
إذن ذلة شخص المنافس وإهانته ولوم الخلق كلب يموت على كلب. شوف هذا وحي، كلب يموت على كلب. طيب ماذا قال؟
Okay, so what did he say as a result of this revelation on Muhammad Hussein Batalwi, as it must apply to him as one of his fiercest opponents? So he writes about Batalwi in the book Al-Bariyah that when Balvey was taken to court, he asked the judge in the courtroom to provide for him a chair, and the judge refused and scolded him. So he came out, humiliated, and sat on someone's garment and ruined it, and was exposed to further humiliation. But Talwi wrote him a letter saying, "You made 3 claims in the book Al-Bariyah. Firstly, that Muhammad Hussein Batalwi requested a chair from the deputy commissioner, and he said that he used to give him and his father a chair in the courtroom. So the deputy commissioner rebuked him for being a liar and told him not to speak with such rudeness. The second claim is that he sat on a chair in an outside room, and then a police captain saw him and immediately removed him from the chair and scolded him under his authority as a police officer. The third claim is that he sat after that on someone's garment, but the owner of the garment actually removed it underneath him." But Talwi says, "These claims are pure lies, and you will not find a shred of truth in them." I lean strongly towards believing Batalwi in this matter, because we have not seen him lie or falsify. As for this man, we have seen with our own eyes, with absolute clarity, that falsifications fill his books.
فوجدنا بأعيننا وبوضوح تام التزييف يملأ كتبه. هذا الوحي.
As I've said, this revelation causes the Ahmadiyya to await the destruction of humanity on pins and needles, the destruction of the world, the Sunni and Shi'i war to wipe themselves out of existence. They rejoiced the bloodthirsty Daesh or ISIS. They rejoice the destruction of our lands because they see this as proof of the founder's truthfulness. This is the psychology of the Ahmadiyya. They do not rejoice except through destruction and the perdition of the Ummah. This is the danger, and for this reason, it is our obligation to rescue them, because if they are not saved, they will die in anguish and sorrow after living this revelation, because this destroys their psychological health. For this reason, my call to all the people is to have compassion towards the Ahmadiyya and to advise them to consider their psychological status they are afflicted with, and that they should rescue their Ahmadiyya from drowning and not to gloat over their grief. May peace and the blessings and mercy of Allah be upon you.